So now I'm going to go ahead and calculate my average displacement in X. And this is just going to be average. And so you start typing in average, the function will come up, and you can just select on your displacements in the X column. So I'm just going to select on C. And you'll notice that I have C colon C. And that's going to, if no matter how many data points I have in here, it's going to always average all of them. Okay. We do not have to drag that down. And we are going to have our average displacement in X. Again, shouldn't that be Y? All right. So I'm just going to do the same thing here, but all I have to do is fill and drag over. And it's going to do that calculation for me immediately. So the standard deviation is actually a function in here. And we don't have to type in everything. It's just there for formal reasons. So I'm just going to type in standard, S-T-D-E-V. And you'll notice that we have a variety of standard deviations, all right? The most modern one that we're going to use is this one right here, standard deviation.s. Okay, so all I have to do is select on column C again, and it's going to give me my standard deviation for those data points, and I'm just going to hit return. So this is a standard deviation, and it is in meters, and I'm going to go ahead and select and fill that to the right. So it's going to go from this column to this column. That's what's happening when I'm filling, okay? So if you looked at the data set, we have average in C, and we have average in D. Standard deviation in C, standard deviation in D. So now that we have all of that information, we are going to go ahead and calculate our time of flight. The time of flight is going to be equal to, now we actually have to be formal with our theory here, equal to the square root SQRT. And it's going to be the square root of, and so the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we have our denominator. Is that denominator? No, our numerator calculated first. So I'm going to put some parentheses. So whenever you put parentheses around something, you're telling a computer program, you're telling a computer program that you want this calculated first. And even if I gave this to you, according to the order of operations, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally's last remark, you want to do the same thing. So square root of a -2 times the average Y displacement. So that's F right here. And then we're going to divide that by 9.81. Okay. And that's it. That is it. If we went to our theory, you would see the exact same thing. So now we have our time of flight. Now we need the average velocity in the X direction. So I'm just going to say this is going to be equal to the average displacement in the X direction, which is column E. It's going to be 0.3942968. And we're going to divide that by our time. It's the same theory that we've been working with. Okay, so now I'm getting an average initial velocity of 3.12787. I am just going to reduce that down to 2 decimal places. And this is going to be my average initial velocity. Okay. You know what? That's pretty much the end of this video series. So after this, you guys make sure that you submit this. If I go back to my Dropbox, you'll notice that now my kinematic theory document is actually up there. And you'll see that I have one document and then I have the calculations that we just did. And this is pretty much it for your documentation and experiment, data analysis.